Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Plus, dude, don't give me the keeper. I'm coming to you as an adult and I'm begging for mercy and clemency. Thank you. It's an early recording here today. Let me get warmed up first before you rip my beating heart out of my chest. 09ED DW3Y. As Samson, hold on. We gotta get the ergo set up here. Trying not to have my wrists explode off of my forearms. Although, if I could do it in a controlled fashion, like some kind of anime-style rocket fist, that would be okay, but more... No, don't hit me. More likely, it would just be like I bump it on a piece of furniture and end up wearing a... like a splint for the rest of my life. Okay. We're not there yet, okay? And we're not there yet because of the ergonomics. Look, if I'm gonna... and it makes it sound like I have, like, some kind of repetitive stress injury. I don't. I'm just trying to stay ahead of the game. The only thing that won't let me slide into carpal tunnel syndrome is the fact that I'm not a good enough gamer to justify having repetitive stress injuries, carpal tunnel, you know, wrist tendonitis, etc., etc. If I were a competitive Smash Bros, speedrunner, StarCraft, Overwatch League mastermind, and then, you know, after half a decade of competitive play, I was like, man, my pardon me, my wrists are real sore. I think it's from my career as a professional gamer. You would be like, I get it, you know. It's like being a real athlete. Okay, that sounded bad. I didn't mean it like that. It's like being a more physical athlete. You know, if you knew someone that played in the NFL. And, I think this is worth it anyway. And they were like, oh, my shoulder hurts. So you're like, why? And you're like, oh, I think it was from 5 years of being the inside linebacker for the Chicago Bears. You would be like, that seems appropriate. But for me, it's like, I played too much Tetris, honestly. I think I just played too much Tetris today. Okay, a health upgrade. I believe it takes us to 3 or 4. I can't remember. Which is always the danger when you're in a situation like this. As Samson, you don't want to accidentally get yourself killed. I am thinking about opening that golden chest. The reason right now is honestly mostly for money. I would like to get another key first. We could always get a key from the chest, but if we can get 5 cents total, we got a good chance to get a shop on the next floor. Sorry, an arcade. If we get an arcade, we have a lot of HP and a 2 of hearts, so there's a really good chance to maybe pivot into an IV bag. Even a blood bag, of course, is pretty solid. Ooh, almost got me, you son of a gun. Anyway, today is Sunday. Oh, there's a tinted rock. This is our room. Today's Sunday. Yesterday was my day off, and it was a good day off. We had a... okay, I mean, like, it didn't start that great. We had, like, a meeting with the bank that was necessary and, you know, not really stressful, but just kind of boring. Which is fair. Hold on. Hold the front door here. We at least gotta take out these. That's what you're looking for. Got him. Got him. That's a lot of spiders, brother. But then, afterwards, had a decent Japanese lunch. I know it sounds like a euphemism. It was just lunch at a Japanese restaurant. By the way, I've said it before. It takes a lot... oh, please. For me to be annoyed with the restaurant. I will say we went to a place that annoyed me a little bit. I know you're like, oh, here he goes. Here he goes with a pseudo grocery store style anecdote. But like, there is a little Curb Your Enthusiasm energy to this, okay? We went out to a restaurant for lunch, and it was insanely busy. It's a popular place. And when we were like, hey, you know, we want a table for two, usually, I'm trying to be entitled about it, but usually a table for two is so easy. We're very accommodating. You know how like a liquid fills the vessel that it's contained in, or conforms to the shape of what it's contained in? You know what I mean. Like a glass of water. What shape is the water? It's the shape of the glass. That's Kate and I when we go to a restaurant. You know? We're like table for two. They're like, whoa, almost the most fittable table size ever. Will you sit at the bar? Sure. Will you sit at the, you know, the sushi table area? Sure. You want to share a table with somebody? Doesn't bother me. You want to sit backwards on the toilet like AC Slater in Saved by the Bell? You know, as a last resort, I'll sit backwards on the toilet like AC Slater did in Saved by the Bell. You can serve me my sushi on the toilet tank. Hold on, let's see what's going on here first. So they were like, it'll be 20 minutes. I'm like, it's not really a big deal. It was more like a half an hour, but you know, it's not like the... Sometimes people get upset by that. You know, you're like, you told me it'd be 15 minutes, and it's been 25 minutes. You're like, well, what do you want me to do? I don't control, you know, how long it takes for that, you know, table 17 to pay their bill. At least that's the way I'm assuming that works. But then, you know, it's one of those things, it does activate the Larry David inside of you. Curse of the Tower actually helped us for the first time in history. We're gonna take them both. Good, actually. Not very good. That's fine, we got good speed. But Cambion Conception is really good if we manage to get an arcade. Definitely do not start by doing this, but this is a bit of a lazy play. We should have gotten the pots as well, but I didn't want to spawn a bunch of spiders. Anyway, when we sat down, you know, we'd been waiting for 20 minutes in this crowded little vestibule at the front of the restaurant. And when we sat down, like half the tables in the restaurant are empty. Now, I know it's not that easy, right? It's not like they were like, just make them wait. It'll, statistically speaking, on a psychological level, they'll like the food more as a result. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But you still, it makes you feel weird when you sit down, right? You're like, why did I wait so long? There were all these open spaces. Then, you know, hold on. Ace of Clubs. Hanged Man, Two of Hearts. I don't think we need Two of Hearts anymore. Let's just snag some bombs. And actually, getting the golden bomb here is real nice. Because we can do this. And then we can come around here and do this. We'll go to the shop now as well. But anyway, I ordered Japanese-style curry. My wife ordered, like, this hot pot-style... oh, actually, D1 is really good. My wife ordered this hot pot-style dish. And, you know, I recognize manners, by the way. I want to be clear, I recognize manners. I grew up in a household where you don't eat until everybody's food has arrived. This is considered politeness, but it depends on your culture. That is not the culture in Kate's family. And honestly, I like it better that way. You know, previously, it took me a little while to get over. I was like, I don't feel comfortable eating until everybody's food is here. Now I'm like, listen, it's not my fault your food isn't here. It's the restaurant's fault. You really want to... You would feel bad if I started eating right now? You want me to wait until the food is cold in case yours doesn't come out for like 15 minutes? No, that's weird. It's a very weird thing to desire, I think. I think the politeness there is actually impolite to the person who's waiting for their food. Because now, you're like forcing them... I will do it, actually. Oh, I can't do it. You're forcing them to, like, ruin your dinner. Like, in some weird act of solidarity that doesn't make sense to me. I guess we will take Mama Mega. It sucks to lose D1, but we had a lot of spacebar items on this floor. What was... That was the D1 in that room. Okay, alright, we'll move on. Anyway, so my food came out, and I'm like, do you mind if I start eating? And Kate said no, because she's a normal human being. And then, so I started eating. And then I kept eating, and then I finished eating, and her food still wasn't there. And then as I finished, her food came out, and it was blowing me away, because it was something that was like raw ingredients in a pot, and then it cooks on the table. And I'm like, you really had to... Well, how does that come out you know, 15 to 20 minutes after the cooked dish. And then, you know, she wasn't feeling super well. Not because of this, but, you know, she ate like, you know, half of it. And then I was like, she was like, I'm done. So I talked to the server and I was like, can we get the bill, please? And he's like, oh, is everything okay? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, do you want to pack that up? And I'm like, nah, it's not really the kind of thing that, you know, we're going to go home and like cook this in our own pot. I'm not saying it's a sensible fiscal decision to do, but it's a lot of work for leftovers. I don't even microwave the pizza that's left over before I eat it. So he goes like, oh, is everything, you're sure everything's fine? And I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, is she just full? And I said, yeah, but in my head I was like, brother, it's none of your business. Like, it's the lady's not hungry, sir. Can we just move along here? I don't understand why you think that we're at this level in our server-client relationship. Anyway, I'm complaining a lot about a little. But that was the low point of my Saturday. I think there's some universality in that waiting for a restaurant bit. When you there's something just weird about when you walk into a restaurant. Half the tables are empty and they're like, it's gonna be like a 20-minute wait. I assume something's happening behind the scenes. You know, this is a restaurant that's been around in Vancouver for a long time. I've been there, you know, a few times in the past. It's always been pretty good. So I chalk it up to one bad day. It was also wild to me, and you know, I've many times in the past, I've gone on record as saying I think that people are babies about babies, if that makes sense. We will take it, but it is gonna ruin maybe blood bank potential on the next floor, even with Maggie's faith. But I mean, it's such a good series of items, like, you gotta love it. You know, people are always like, I want to start an airline where no babies can fly. You know, there's nothing worse than being on a flight for 45 minutes and the baby 16 rows away won't stop crying because its freaking ears are popping and is so confused about what the heck's happening right now. Isn't that hard for me? Lemon party. The irony is, I have heard more adult babies cry about babies than I have heard babies cry. And I've flown a lot. Not so much recently, but anyway. Let's keep our arcade chance alive just for the Hail Mary. Don't need to buy any more Spirit Hearts. But regardless, I found myself in the classic position of realizing I'm a hypocrite because we were at this cool restaurant, and like most cool restaurants, you're packed in like sardines. It's real tight, you know. They got 20 servers shouting at all times. Anytime you order something, have you ever been to like a Japanese izakaya style restaurant? It's very alarming the first time you walk in. And this is, I've never not seen this happen at an izakaya restaurant. It's like the universal thing. Izakaya, by the way, is just like, it's like a pub, kind of. Anyway. When you walk in, they shout at you. And I don't know if this is just because there was one in Vancouver that took off, but it happens in Japan as well, for sure. But, they shout at you, and then when you order something, they shout the order back to the kitchen, and then the kitchen is like, you know, we got the order, thank you so much for your patronage. And you're like, you know, for some people, I'm sure you're like, this is awesome. For me, I'm like, please keep it down. But anyway, so it's loud, and then on top of that, there were some people there that brought, like, strollers, and I was just losing it, because I had always, well, not losing, I was engaging in mild observational humor about the situation, as is my brand. And it's like I kind of thought that was like the trade-off of having a very young child, like let's say between the ages like 0 and 5. I thought there was almost like you signed a contract with the devil. Don't let me finish. I thought it was like, we're gonna have this kid for the next few years. Can't go to as many cool restaurants. You know, I'm not saying the parents can't go, but this is like it's a babysitter restaurant. You know what I mean? I don't mean, I'm trying to think I mean this in a non-judgmental way, okay? I'm not trying to say that parents of young children can't go out to you know, cool hip places. I'm hip, I'm with it, tucka 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 tucka, etc., etc. What I'm trying to say is, I sort of thought they wouldn't want to. Because, like, you know, this place is more expensive than your traditional family restaurant. There's less space. They probably don't have a high chair. You gotta pilot your stroller through like a hallway where you got 8 inches of clearance. Some of the people in the restaurant have been drinking alcoholic beverages, you know? Like, why go here when, you know, there's like a Denny's a block away? I'm not saying you have to go to the Denny's. I'm just saying, I feel like if I had like a 2-year-old, I would be like, let's just go to Denny's. I don't want to inconvenience these Zoomers. They're enjoying their chicken karages and their, you know, oishi sushi and etc., etc. Maybe. Well, I mean, as I always say, I don't claim to know the philosophy of a parent. People are always trying to tell parents how to parent. And I have no insight there. But I'm just saying, it's the least you could do for bringing another carbon footprint or two into the world is to let me have a little bit more clearance and peace and quiet and serenity at this restaurant, okay? That's supposed to be the trade-off. I'm 30. I'm childless. I'm supposed to be able to travel and go to the cool restaurants and stay up a little later, and you're supposed to have more joy, supposedly, than anything else you've ever had in your life, but you're tired. And you have to go to McDonald's instead of going to, like, you know, cool and hip, trendy restaurants, okay? That's the trade-off we all agreed upon, and I don't know when you went back on your deal. Brain is actually overheating. Oh my god, we didn't get hit. The processing power required there. Oop. Anyway, that was pretty much my Saturday. I mean, apart from that, it was nice, you know? I mean, that part was kind of nice as well, to be honest with you. But, you know, watched the hockey game, played some Forza. Let me out, please. It's always Brownie, dude. Feel like they made Brownie spawn more often when it was a new boss and then like forgot to take the code out of the game. That, I apologize, that's harmful speculation. I don't know if that has any validity whatsoever, but it is kind of the way it feels sometimes. Yeah, I mean, pretty low-key day. I was thinking about it. For those of you asking, I still do not have a win in Forza Eliminator. I played one game last night, I came 3rd. We're getting there. I've realized, like, you might not care about Forza Eliminator, and that's fine. If so, the next couple of minutes are going to be a little bit of a snoozer for you. But it really has grown on me. It's super weird. Like, I feel like we haven't been to our item room yet, so give me a minute here. I feel like they would do... I mean, I've talked, you know, a couple times in the past about how ridiculous it is that with Xbox Game Pass, you can get Forza Horizon 4 for $1 for 3 months. And then it's like, you know, I mean, you're not just renting it for $1 for 3 months and then paying out the nose afterwards. Like, you are also getting all the other stuff with Xbox Game Pass, which is absurd to me. Phoenix Point just came out on Xbox Game Pass, which is like, it's a brand new XCOM-style strategy game from Julian Gollop, the creator of the original XCOM. And it was like, you know, it was on the Epic Store. And there was a bounty for it on Twitch that, you know, I don't even want to get into, but it expired for me due to things outside of my control. Top right, by the way. And, like a week later, it was like, oh yeah, it's on Xbox Game Pass. So you know that thing you bought to play Forza at 99% off? Hey, here's like 30 other free games. But I digress, okay? I feel like they would do, I don't want to say do better, but I feel like it would be a good business decision for the Forza team to spin out Eliminator into like its own free-to-play battle royale. I feel like that would be a great like downstream marketer for Forza Horizon 4. Because that's the way it worked for me. I was like, oh, they added a BR into this game, huh? Well, okay, I'll get Game Pass and check it out. And now I've got, like, you know, 30 hours of it in 2 weeks. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, regardless. I figured out, you won't believe me saying this, but, like, my head-to-head race, like, win percentage is, like, probably 75% wins, 25% losses now. All you gotta do is point yourself towards the center of the circle. Most people do not do that. So you're already like 50-0 there. And then a 50-50 match against other people who know what they're doing. Anyway, I played some of that. Not as much as I would have liked, to be honest. But I always do this thing where I'm like, you know, I wake up, you know, a little earlier. Maybe I wake up at like 9 a.m. on a Saturday. And I'm like, oh my god, I have so much time for video games today. Then I play like an hour, and I'm like, I should get a little bit of like domestic work done. So I'll like, you know, do the laundry or something like that. And then I'll be like, oh, let's do some meal prep. And then, you know, like, hey, you know, oh, hold on, that is Necropolis too, okay. Then I'm like, you know, why don't I set my videos and stuff like that? So I set the next day's videos and do the thumbnails for that. Then before you know it, I'm like, oh, it's 5 p.m.? I've just been doing like a little bit of busy work all day. So even on a day, I'm sure this is relatable, by the way. I mean, that's just, no! I wanted Polyphemus, why'd you take Blank Rune, you fool? That hurts. And I mean that in a non-ironic way. I'm sure it's relatable. Like, when I was 16, I had like all Saturday to play video games. If my mom was like, can you bring your dishes down to the kitchen? I was like, oh my god, it's my day off. This is crazy. I'm just gonna keep taking stuff. We're getting one free deal with the devil per floor, basically, with Maggie's Faith. Honestly, nothing here is good enough to want to soak up the Emperor cards, so we'll just keep moving on. You know, it's like, even if I had 16 hours with nothing to do, just being asked to do one thing that would take under 5 minutes is like, well, I guess my whole day off is ruined now. Ridiculous. Now, I wake up and I'm like, you know, 16 hours with nothing to do. And then, I guess it's not, I was trying to think, if I wake up at 9, 16 hours from then is like 1. Yeah, that's about right, actually. Doesn't seem right. It's about right. And I'm like, 16 hours with nothing to do. And then 16 hours later, I'm like, how did I get so busy? It turns out there's a lot of stuff, you know? You're like, make some lunch, you make some lunch, you eat some lunch. Maybe you vacuum a little bit. Your mom's like, hey, do you want to have a phone call? I'm like, yeah, Mom, I want to have a phone call. We have a phone call. There's another half hour. I mean, 16 hours is 16 hours. Like, it's a lot of time regardless. I'm just saying. Basically, what I'm saying is, don't it always seem to go? You don't know what you got till it's gone. When I was a teenager, it's the classic thing people say about video games, right? When you're a teenager, you have all these games you want to play. You got a lot of time, usually. I know, you know, some teenagers are out there, like, making a Lego 3D printer that prints synthetic insulin and stuff like that. More power to you. But, you know, most teenagers have more free time than most adults. If you're a teenager and you're mad at that sentence, wait like 10 years and then talk to me about it. And you might be right, but probably not. And then, as an adult, you're like, I have all these games to play, and, you know, for the most part, you got some disposable income. But on the other hand, no time. Although this is a bit that, I believe, I first heard about this, this spectrum prior to the 2008 recession, so we might be in slightly different economic times now. I remember, like, when I was about to go to my first year of university, my dad gave me some advice. He said, and this is a real story, not a bit. He was like, you're not gonna believe it right now, But like when I think back, in university, I thought I was so busy, but I actually had like more free time than I've ever had in my entire life. And then I was like, yeah, whatever, Dad. But I definitely, when I was in there, I was like, he's right. It was a good piece of advice. It's not to say I wasn't also busy on and off throughout college. And again, you know, like, look, I hate to say this because it breeds this kind of like intermajor rivalry or whatever. But not all scholastic experiences are created equal in terms of the amount of work required. I'll own up to it, okay? So I lived with, in my second year of university, I lived with 6 other people in a shared house. And, trying to think, at least 4 of them were like engineering majors. One of them was like a double major in physics and math. And then there was like, one of them was in kinesiology, and I'll admit, okay, crap rolls downhill. She used to always complain to us. She'd be like, oh my God, I'm so busy. Tomorrow we even have a field trip. And then we're like, you have a field trip in university? And she's like, yeah, we're going bowling. Then we have to write a paper about it. And we were like, you're complaining about having a field trip to go bowling? Anyway, regardless. The whole time I lived with them, anytime I complained about having a lot of work to do, they were like, oh no, I got a lot of work to do in my biology degree. I gotta write a paper. But you know what? I always was like, you guys are jerks. But they were also right, you know? Like, they did have a lot more work. Busy work in school, at least. Now, fat lot of good it did them. Because I'm crushing it, and they're out there, I don't know, like building like little synthetic materials for use on the space shuttle or something stupid like that that probably isn't even like fulfilling or interesting at all. So who's laughing now? But anyway, I don't want to contribute to any kind of you know, major bias. The thing is, I'm not saying, you know, STEM majors deserve more credit than like fine arts majors or whatever. All I'm saying is that in terms of busy work, definitely there are majors that are set up differently. So if you know, if you were taking a particularly advanced or busy academic program at college, maybe what I just said doesn't really feel correct to you. But I feel like for the average undergrad sort of situation, it probably makes sense. I think so. I definitely had more free time in university than I had in high school. Like, in high school, you don't even realize, you think it's not a lot of work looking back, because it's, you know, not necessary. Not all of the work you do in high school is actually hard in any capacity. Like, some days you're like, oh, this is a lot of work. And some days you're like, this is just word searches, dude. Maybe not literally, but, you know, some days you go to class and you're like, you go to philosophy class and he's like, we're watching The Matrix. And then you go to, you know, geography class and they're like, we're watching Dante's Peak. And you're like, really? A double movie day? This is awesome. But, you know, you forget. When I'm not saying I had the worst high school experience in terms of just like time investment, but school started at 8:15 in the morning. I had to be on the school bus. I had to wake up at like 6:45, and a lot of people have it way worse. I had to wake up at 6:45. I would catch the bus at like 7:40. Half an hour drive to the school, you know, go to your locker. Then you're there like 8:15 to 2:30, and then you take the bus home. You don't get home until like, you know, 3:15. That's a lot of time 5 days a week. Plus, on top of that, yes, you have a little bit of homework. You know, maybe when I went to school, it was a couple hours a night. And honestly, I support that. I feel like there should be more. We don't need to get into that on this episode, though. It's not a popular opinion. People are always like, let kids be kids. And I'm like, nah, dude, screw that. When your kids are too young to have any preconceived notions of the difficulty of mathematics, just keep hitting them with arithmetic over and over. Train them to be a human computer. In today's job market, you gotta have any leg up. Anyway, that's a lot of time, you know? And then, you know, Canadian school, high school at least, went like the first week in September to the last week in June. So you're in school for like 10 months. Now, I had weeks in university that were like insanely busy, but I also had, you know, I had semesters where it was like, hey, on Friday, you only have 2 classes, plus you get 3 weeks off for Christmas holidays, you get a week off in the spring, and the school only runs from like September to the end of April. Anyway, for now, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Very easy win. If you liked it, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya.